And we are live.
We've got people joining us.
Yes, we'll start here in a second. Thank you for the early viewers. Bill, thank you for watching.
You can come in close, Alex, while I'm doing some of this. While we're waiting for people to join, get right down into the hand here.
Good morning, everyone. We'll start here shortly. Good morning, Kyle. Good morning, Eric. Morning, Bob. Hi from Georgia.
Awesome.
Those early viewers, if you can guess which lighthouse this is, feel free to comment.
Great, well, good morning everybody. Happy Saturday to you all. And welcome to the Guy Harvey Facebook Live for our feature on lighthouses. It's International or National Lighthouse Day today. And so lighthouses being a prominent part of our skyline and our culture, we're going to talk about lighthouses in a bit, but let's just wrap up the week quickly. Last week, I was showing you how I use stippling in my artwork. It's a pen and ink process using a 0.35mm nib, and we featured on sailfish because it was a last-minute effort to get a Facebook Live going, and sailfish are one of my favorite fish to do. And I was comparing the fish swimming with the sails out, lit up on a bait ball perhaps, with stripes, pelvics down, dorsal up, with a fish that's just cruising with the fins down, and showing how streamlined, they're like a javelin with a tail. So Alex posted that for you last week, but that's the finished result. You know, a very nice little painting, and illustrative and telling a bit of a story about the life history of the animal. So I continued with this theme this week for National Lighthouse Day today, because I've been given a shopping list of lighthouses to do. And while this has got a lot more detail, I do love doing the lighthouses. And so here we go. And online too, we have a lot of options today for you to see during National Lighthouse Day. In the past, I've done many. Here is a tile art piece of a collage of different popular lighthouses from Key West to Pensacola to Cape Canaveral and St. Augustine. So these are five popular lighthouses, Jupiter in the middle there, that I've done in the past, and we're resurrecting many of these because they're so popular. And then I put an assortment of fish around them to add color. And what I'm going to do now is actually show you with this particular lighthouse, Montauk, how I've got to this design, why I've used certain species here, and what it's going to look like as an end result, and how we put this onto like tiles or t-shirts or other licensed items that you can actually purchase. And remember, when you purchase these items, you're supporting the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation at the same time, supporting our research, education and conservation efforts. So it's kind of a cool topic to get into. Lighthouses are very iconic. That's the true use of that word. They stand out. They're built to stand out. And they obviously were built, many of them, centuries ago, because they became the only real visual navigational aid that people had, apart from, you know, other landmarks, mountains and other headlands and stuff like that. Because people didn't have GPSs or cell phones or anything like that. They navigated by the stars and so when lighthouses were put up, Alex, you can come in and focus on some of these lighthouses here. They were an integral part of the success of navigation, and it became really important, of course, not only for safety but for improving trade, because all trade was conducted by water over long distances. And how do you find your way when you're getting close to your destination? Through a lighthouse. So the Phoenicians, the Egyptians, the Romans, everybody around the Mediterranean had lighthouses up all over the place to help them with navigation from 2,000-3,000 years ago. And nowadays, you know, it's all easy. Everybody has a sat nav and you just plug in a number and off you go. But so these lighthouses remain. Some of them are functional, some are not. But as cultural mascots of a time gone by, and they're turned into all sorts of tourism and viewing opportunities. Now many of them are maintained in good condition all over the world. So let's get on to Barnegat. Montauk. I've done Barnegat before. This is Montauk. I did a sketch of, because there are lots of photos online. Of course, this is one of the few times I do actually work from a photo. People ask me. So what I want to create here is the feeling of the Northeast. I'm going to use key species from up here. I've got a striped bass on the left, bluefin tuna top right. I've got a bluefish. I've got a broadbill swordfish. I've got a weakfish, the iconic mako shark down here, and a flounder here. But it's all black and white right now. So what I want to do is actually add a little bit of a wash to make the white of the lighthouse stand out in contrast. So I'm just going to boldly now add a little bit of color in here to just give it a little bit of a skyline sort of look about it. And I don't want to use too much paint because this paper is, well, it is a watercolor paper, but it's a hot press, the one I use for just pen and ink work. So I'm going to show you how I do it on another piece as well, on a different paper, and you'll see the result. So I'm just going to add a light bit of blue to give some sky here. And because this is a vignette, I'm not going to take it all the way out to the edge of the painting. And already you can see that the white of the lighthouse is contrasting with the pale blue of the sky there, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. And it can be kind of abstract. You don't need to finish it off exactly, because I got part of the lighthouse in shadow, the left side, of course, the sun's coming from the right. So I'm going to add a little bit of the shadow to this side. So I'm going to increase the visibility, the contrast on the sunlit side. And then I'm going to let that dry for a bit, because I want to actually paint the lighthouse with its real colors. So it's kind of cool. You can add shadow in anywhere you want, and I'm just doing it very quickly here. So anybody want to tell me about what lighthouses they have near them, and you know, whether they've been to see them? Do they go and visit? You know, is it a very visible point when you're out fishing? Can you see it from far out, etc., etc.? Of course, at night time, you know, you can't see the lighthouse itself, but you see the light, which is the important part. So any of you who go out night fishing, you probably depend a little bit on your local lighthouse for reference. Alex, what have we got?
Alrighty, we're going to say good morning to Jim, Adam, Stephen. Thank you all for joining us. If you're just joining us, it's National Lighthouse Day, so we are discussing lighthouses. Guys painting a Montauk Lighthouse here. If you guys have any lighthouses that you'd love Guy to paint next, please send them in and we'll have a look. We've got a number of designs on our website currently, the Boca Grande Lighthouse, Pensacola, Cape Hatteras. There's quite a number of them on there, so feel free to take a look.
Jupiter, St. Augustine, Barnegat, Currituck, Boca Grande. The one in Boca Grande, of course, is one of my favorites. It's kind of an odd looking lighthouse, and it's like a house, not a sort of tower. Very cool. I know a lot of people fish there for tarpon, especially this time of year, and it's a very cool place. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, well, I am hoping that my watercolor is dried there. This is one of the beauties of working with watercolor. you can work fast. And as you're noticing, anybody who does this kind of art, the ink is not smudging. So I'm using this very dark black India ink, which is waterproof. And any of you who do any kind of ink work, this is what I use all the time. And I've been doing this for 35 years, maybe 40 years. I'm using these little repeatograph pens. And they're excellent. The ink is fast, it stays forever, and it looks great. All right, I'm going to boldly now, because this lighthouse has a red stripe in the middle of it. I'm going to, well, it's kind of reddish brown. I'm going to add it right now, very quickly, and see what the end result is. I may change this later if it's not quite the color that I'm looking for, because I didn't have much time to experiment. But there it is, and I've got a little blurt there that we can get out, and I might do 2 coats. I think I will, Alex, because it's pale, but that's good. It's better to start out pale and build your colors than have too much color to start with and have to kind of backtrack. So this is definitely pale, but I'm going to let it soak there for a second, and you can see already what a difference a little bit of watercolor wash has already made to this painting. What I might do is ask our graphic artist later maybe to add a little color to the swordfish or to the weak fish here, maybe even the mako. I think the mako is very cool. I love this pose and the face. Can you get down to it, Alex, so you can see the mouth? Because again, the precision and the fine nib of this drawing pen allows you to get this wonderful detail in there. Good. Alrighty. So,
if anybody has any questions, please send them in.
Some questions. Can you read some out to me, Alex?
We'll wait for them to come through. Can anybody guess how many lighthouses there are in the US? Throw your answers in, and we'll see who's correct. Not sure if we know, but we'll find out.
I have no idea. I can't answer that. Great. All right, this is coming along. This is cooking nicely. So in the composition of this piece, I do a lot of pencil work to start with, because getting the precision of the lines all done. And this will take, a good week to do, so you can take your time. Like I said, the stippling process is like watching paint dry or watching grass grow. But the whole thing begins with pencil and getting all the lines organized. And it's quite, it's quite involved. Then I use the eraser, of course, to get rid of all the pencil and clean it up. And I'm going to leave the outside completely open, that way that we can use it on a variety of different products, but also it becomes a piece of fine art for collectors to purchase. So as I said, I'm going to get another layer of paint on the red-brown stripe here on the lighthouse, because I need it to be a little darker. And you can see again I'm painting over the stipple, and the stipple is not moving. It's not being flushed out or adding any color to the watercolor. So the watercolor is clean, not muddy. Alright, well, while that's going on, we're going to move into another painting, Alex. And this time we'll leave this to dry for a second up here. We'll bring in another one I've been working on, which is the Biloxi Lighthouse in Mississippi. Completely different arrangement here, completely different setup from the stipple and the time investment and so on. Biloxi Lighthouse is very prominent. A lot of people would have driven by this. It's right pretty much downtown Biloxi. You can drive either side of it on the waterfront. It's very prominent. It's kind of monochromatic, it's white. So again, like I had the problem here with the pale background, I want to bring contrast now. I'm going to use the fish, of course, 4 different fishes here. Iconic fish of the Gulf Coast. That's what you want to choose and put in here, rather than anything else. I'm going to add a little bit of watercolor to the sky, the blue sky. So let me get my blue going here. Maybe a little bit too much. And we're going to do basically the same thing we did on the other one. But guess what? There's no stipple in this at all. So my investment in time has been, Alex, come in close. You can see I've done a rough sketch of the lighthouse, the trees behind, the building behind, beautiful old building, the layout of the redfish, speckled trout, flounder, and the cobia. I've done the scale work here, and I'm going to use the contrast of the fish behind the lighthouse, in front it doesn't matter so much, but the sky as well, to give it some contrast. Whoa, that's far too much paint. So how do I get rid of all that paint? I water it down right there on the paper, but I still want the blue. So you can correct a little error like that by just washing it out. And there we go. So I'm also going to use the blue here to give contrast to this speckled trout here, because the fins are kind of pale, and so I want that contrast. I'm going to have a few trees in the background around this house, and so again I can leave it abstract. I don't have to be too detailed. But you saw how I saved myself from a little oopsie there. Yep, that happens from time to time. I'm going to do it on the left side too, and in about a minute you're going to see that the lighthouse tower, which is all white in real life, now stands out at you, even though it's painted on white paper. And this is the key about making contrast. So I love doing watercolors. Watercolors are my favorite medium, because it's so spontaneous. I get what I'm looking for, and it's very effective. I love the combination of the detail with the redfish, the scales, and the color that I'm going to add here in just a few minutes. So are we following me? Are we doing okay? Is everybody happy so far, Alex? Let's fire in some questions, man.
Alrighty, to our question about the lighthouses in the US, we've got a wide range of answers.
Well, I can't comment, so you've got to find out quickly how many there are.
Well, we've got a range of about 50 to 700, I think.
That many?
So
I believe a higher figure. Yeah.
We will see who is the closest.
Can you not check?
We'll have the answer most likely next week.
What? I don't know we can wait that long. Anyway.
Shout out to Christina, Joyce, Kayla. Thank you all for joining.
Oh, cool.
Neil, Sean. Appreciate you guys joining.
I know Natalia from Introdeco is going to watch today. Hi Natalia, how are you? This is coming your way shortly.
I believe Fred joined earlier. Thank you, Fred.
Oh, great. Cool. Anyway, so here we go. So I'm going to let you can see how the lighthouse is coming along here. I'm going to let the paint dry for a little bit, go back to the other one, and you can see the contrast, the detail. I think I'm going to add, Alex, a little bit more red to this paint here, just a toot. Maybe that's too much, and just brighten up this red a little bit on the Montauk Lighthouse. Yeah, that's a little better. And this is the third layer I'm giving this piece now, because I started out a little pale, but now, and for those of you who live up in the northeast, you will know if I'm right or wrong. And this time of year, it's a beautiful time of year to go out and visit lighthouses. And this one is right on the sea, of course. Some of them are a little further inland. And we have them in the Caribbean, not many of them, but there are a few around. I think that looks pretty good. That looks really good, actually. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to leave that and go back to, I think there's enough contrast in here. Maybe a little darker on the blue, just up in this area. Yep, I think so, to give more contrast to the white stands out better. And then when we transpose this onto a shirt or a coffee mug or a print like this, the white actually really jumps out at you. That's what I want. So bluefin tuna season up there right now, August, September. There'll be guys in Massachusetts and all those places up to Nova Scotia where we fish for tunas, catching giant bluefin tunas. Of course, there's quotas in place and minimum sizes in place, and hope you guys are obeying all the local fishing regulations, as you should. Fish sustainably. And so Alex, you see what I've done with this? This part really stands out now. You can zoom in on it a bit, and I'm kind of liking the clouds in the sky. And we have come a long way in the last 10 minutes. So I have the option left. Again, one of my favorite fish to paint, just because of all the scale detail. Even though this is a reduced size one, they have beautiful scales, and each scale has an individual marking on it, making stripes. The bluefish here is kind of a drab fish, but they've got a fearsome face. And a great fish to catch this time of year too. Surf casting, beach casting. The swordfish, of course, you find offshore. Weak fish inshore, flounders inshore. Lovely fish to eat. And of course, one of my favorite sharks, the mako shark. I really like that pose, actually. I think I'm going to do something bigger with this piece here. Good. All right. So finally, we're going to move back to Biloxi. And I'm going to give this redfish a wash now, because you're going to see how the white of the lighthouse really starts to stand out a bit now. I want a little bit of gold in here, a little bit of yellow. I know it looks untidy and mucky, and it is, but it works. So I'm not going to change anything here. All right, so Alex, here we go. We're going to add a lot of color here. And now, remember redfish have unique spots on their back, and I'm going to show you how I make that work. The black spots on their back and the tail actually have a white ring around it, and so I'm going to leave the paper white and paint around it. And again, I'm starting out with a pale color because I want to build up on the color. And here again on the tail, you're going to get and to leave the space, and you'll see why later, for the black spot in the middle. And off we go. So you can see now, I'm going to build up this contrast. You see how the scales are still pushing through the light paint, even though it's in pencil. The scales will always shine out through the paint, as long as you don't make it too heavy. Whoops. And here we go.
For a quick note on all the Jessica fans out there, she will be back next week.
Yep.
So definitely tune in.
Jessica has been doing the rounds in Florida, visiting families, but also our family, but also working with the new Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation team, Patchy, Amanda, and Matt, who are doing a great job. And so you see, Alex, I am quickly running out of paint, but I am also, building up the colors behind the lighthouse to give that contrast I was talking about earlier. I'm using quite a big brush. You know, I use different sizes of brush for watercolor, staying within the lines, of course, like teaching a kid to paint. And we're going to go all the way down the head. I'm going to let it dry, and we're going to add another whole layer of paint to this fish. So I don't normally paint this fast, but take my time, but I want to show you the effect. Of course, it could be any fish, but the redfish is, you know, the key Gulf Coast fish, as it is, you know, all the way up, both sides of Florida up to Carolinas. But really on the Gulf Coast, this is the fish people fish for, along with the speckled sea trout. Sea trouts are kind of silvery, kind of bland. They've got subtle gold, green, purple colors in them, as do the redfish. But they've got these beautiful black spots on them, which in the finished result you will see. Now I'm not going to do the lighthouse at all yet, because there's not much to do on it. I want the fish to dry, and I'm going to get back onto it in the last few minutes that we have today. How are the questions coming on, Alex?
We've got a number of people joining in, not too many questions.
Anybody asking if I'm going fishing after I'm painting today?
Haven't had that one yet.
Well, we had it last week, and guess what? Caught a blue marlin last week right after our Facebook Live. How about that? Very nice, thank you very much. Yep, the first one for a while. Okay, so I want to add a little bit more color to this fish now. Make it a little darker, and I'm using a little yellow plus unfortunately these tubes of paint dry and they go hard, so what I do is I cut them open and that way you don't waste any paint, because you can shove your paintbrush in down there, but it kind of beats up the point. So I just cut them open, and rather than have them, you know, out on a tray, I will just, where was I? Over here. I will just use them till they're done. A tube like this will last me a year. So, you know, you may think they're expensive to buy, but they go a long way.
So if watercolors are your favorite medium to paint with, what is your second?
Well, I love acrylic paint. The bigger pieces are normally acrylic. And so I'm adding another layer here. You're going to see a complete difference in this fish right away. And I'm going to build up the colors. Of course, you know, the color of a redfish depends on the color of the water it's in. If it's in really dark, kind of murky, muddy water, you're going to get a darker looking fish. Some, you know, in clearer water, like a bass, are very silvery with minimum sort of brown or red or gold on them. So, you know, there's a lot of leeway when you're painting a fish like this, but I'm not going to go down to the belly here because the belly's kind of pale. But see, again, I'm leaving the white for the black spot, and I'll come back to that right at the end. I'll show you exactly why I do that. And so again, I'm building up more contrast because the paint is darker with the lighthouse, which is what I wanted. And it's looking really good right now. And we're going to go all the way down here. Get a little bit of touch of purple in there maybe, because they have this sheen redfish. There we go, that's exactly what I wanted. And you can let the paint work for itself. On the angle of the board, so the paint will flow downhill. That's why I have a slanting board here. Cool. What else we got going on? We have, oh, the Olympics are nearly finished. I hope you guys have been watching the Olympics, supporting your countries. And of course, Jamaica did really well in the track and field. The ladies team again won gold, which is fantastic. USA did pretty well in most things as usual. Britain did very well. Very cool to watch the Olympics and see all those people. I think one of the most impressive ones for me, Alex, was a Scottish girl who ran the women's 1500, and she came second, and which is a commendable achievement. She said it took me 10 years. These 4 minutes of the race took me 10 years of hard work and dedication just to achieve this, and it was very emotional, I must say. It must be the same for so many athletes who've done so well, tried so hard, and of course through the pandemic have actually, you know, made the whole Olympic experience so wonderful for us, the audience, the spectators. All right, I'm going to do one more layer of paint on the redfish's head. Here we go. And I'll do the fins later, but you can see what I'm getting at. It'll be the same for the flounder. It'll be a slightly different color. And we can go back to Montauk and just see how that one finished up. So which one do you prefer, guys? Do you prefer the intense detail? Let us know, you know, the stippling, the details, the sort of expressions, etc. A little bit of color in there to add some oomph to it. Or do you prefer, you know, just a massive watercolor painting, so to speak? I mean, they all come out beautifully, but it's just, I would like to know your opinions. So we got a few minutes left. Let me just show you how I do the flounder, because again, I'm going to start out really pale. These are like the color of the bottom. And again, I'm going to use this big brush and work fast. And it doesn't matter that the fish somewhat covers the lighthouse, as long as it's, you know, just a piece of it. But I'm trying to be realistic here. And the key thing is to put in the species that people can relate to, the fish that you fish for.
We've got a question from Kayla here.
From who?
Are there ever errors that you absolutely hate and just start over?
Never.
All errors are fixable.
All errors are fixable. Time is precious, so I make sure that, and I keep telling my kids don't waste time, but it's the same with paintings. Time is precious, and so if there's an error, it's going to be in the layout section, and that's why I do it in pencil. And on a big canvas, I might do it, you know, in paint, just sort of big swirls to get position. Because if you make a proportional mistake, it's really hard to fix. You can make, you know, little detail errors, but like right here, I can show you this. The face paint on the redfish caught me out because I was talking too much, so I'm going to have to change the color of his face here. But I can do that with a wet brush, and I can make it much darker later on. But you see, I just got rid of all that paint that was causing a problem there by doing that. And off we go.
Great. Well, Mari has been sending in a few questions. Thank you, Mari. I believe you're signing on every week, so appreciate your support. One question was, do you draw real lighthouses or some of them of your own creation?
No, they're all real, and you know, that's the point. It goes back to being successful in this whole adventure is to do what people want to see. People want to see their own lighthouse. People want to see the fish they catch around them. And so, you know, my art, luckily, I say, inspires people to go fishing, inspires them to think about fishing or diving, inspires them to think about the marine environment generally. So it's based on reality. Great, all right. So I do, on a housekeeping note, I do have an apology to make to people in San Antonio, Texas, SeaWorld, and in California, because I was scheduled this month to go out there and do appearances, but because of the COVID expansion and because of our very harsh quarantine times that we have here in Cayman when you travel, my quarantine times ran into my travel times, and so I just had to cancel everything for the month of August, which is just as well, because last 3 months of travel has been pretty hectic, limited flights available, and you're all facing the same problems. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I'm just taking it off this month. And next month, we start out with the Miami International Fine Arts Exhibition in Miami from September the 3rd for the entire month. So you can look on our website and look at the MIFA, M-I-F-A website too for if you're in the area of South Florida. Come and look at the show. It's the biggest show biggest one-man show I've had. Alex, come around here a bit. Want to look at the art too? It's the biggest one-man art show I've had in South Florida for maybe a decade. And so visit that website, MIFA or guyharvey.com. And the event opens on September the 3rd. I'm giving you heaps of notice if you're in the area or you're going to be down there. And you can come and see a lot of the work that I did during this last pandemic. So, I promised to do the little black part on the redfish, and let me do that. I found these beautiful brushes the other day, by the way, in Florida. And I'm going to show you how this contrast thing works again. You're going to laugh at me because I'm digging paint out of the side of a tube. So to close, we're going to do some redfish spots, and you're going to see how effective it is. You can do them in ink or in paint. So remember, the spots are all different. Every fish has a completely different arrangement. And here we go. So I'm going to put 3 spots up on the tail. And there we go. So you got the white paper highlighting the black, and of course the sort of coppery bronze background. And I might do that one more time, but there's your redfish. And of course I got to do the eye a little bit. I'll do that quickly and then we'll wrap up, Alex. Excuse me. I'm going to go fishing this afternoon. What are you guys doing? Any comments? No?
We've got a few more questions coming in. So Sarah said, do you have a favorite fish to paint?
I absolutely do. I love painting the big fish. The marlins, sailfish, the big sharks. Like I said, I'm really liking this angle of the mako sharky. I might expand on that in another painting. Yeah, I like doing the big stuff, and this is what you're going to see at the MIFA show. Is 3 or 4 of my really big pieces. that I did. Some of them are like 12 feet long. And why do I like painting them like that? Because they're that size. I mean, they're 12 feet long, and so they demand a big canvas. So great. All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
Well, I have one last question, which is on SeaWorld. So when are you going to be in SeaWorld Orlando again? Thank you, Lorraine.
Well, thank you for that. You can look on the website, but I think it's end of November we're coming to SeaWorld Orlando, then early December in Tampa, and up to Williamsburg, Virginia, the second weekend in December. So we had a really good event up there in June in Williamsburg, and I really appreciated all the efforts by the staff, the people, our fans who came out, and it was also, of course, the launch of my new book. And Alex, where's the new book? Can we just bring it? Can we just find the new book, please?
Sure. I'll give you that.
Alrighty. So where am I? I'm on here. As you can see, the lighthouse is really now starting to come out and look good. So yeah, just to remind everybody, this is the new book, Guy Harvey's Underwater World. 350 pages of expeditions, research, conservation, and of course art on every page, just about. So you can buy these online, $49.95, and you can come to us at our signing events. Oh yeah, and we got the surf show as well in September up in Orlando. So I'll be back at probably at SeaWorld Orlando the weekend of the 12th of September. I'm hoping to get confirmation of that. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I'll be posting all of these online probably by Monday or Tuesday, so you can see the end result. And for those of you who love painting, hope you enjoyed the painting session today. Next week we'll have Jessica back, and hopefully the week after that we can get an art contest going between you guys again. So enjoy the weekend, and remember, if you haven't been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. Don't be part of the problem, and stay safe out there. Have a great time.